Hello. Hi. Hi.
How's it going?
Yeah, it's going good. Thanks. And you?
Not bad. Fall is here. Not sweating all the time. Kind of been nice. Have some cooler weather. We had a hot summer. Crazy hot.
We had a very wet summer here instead.
Ours was wet and hot. When it's hot, it pulls the moisture in, so we get.
Oh,
And humidity is not something anybody here is used to. We're in a desert. You're not supposed to have humidity.
yeah, indeed. Hi, Martin. Thanks for joining today. Let me start to share the notes. Now, so let's wait another minute, see if we have more participants, then we can get started. So, no, Mark is not going to be able to join today. Right. Well, looks like it's just a small group today.
Well, that's okay.
But yeah, let's get started. Welcome to the TOC meeting. Today is September the 24th. My name is Andrea Frittoli. I work for IBM. Yeah, so a couple of things on the agenda, and please add to the agenda if there are more things you would like to bring up. We have TOC election running at the moment, so nominations are open, and thanks, Tracy, for submitting your nomination. And yeah, nominations are open until September the 30th. Nominations are for two project representative seats. Since we already have myself representing Tecton and Mark representing Jenkins, we have two seats for the remaining projects. So Screwdriver, Spinnaker, Jenkins, or Tedious, and CD Events. Yeah, voting will be in October, and winners announced October 15th. And yeah, I sorry, forgot to say the two seats are, one is Alan's seat, who's not able to be part of TSC anymore. And the other is one of your seats, Steve, since you have two seats right now. So one, the project representative one, you gave up. Thanks for that.
Right.
Okay, any questions on TOC elections?
Who gets to vote?
Yeah, okay, so that's a very good question.
Just in general. You don't have to get into the nitty-gritty details, but in general, if you know.
It should be project contributors.
Okay.
And I
And you
think
can register to vote too.
right, exactly. So yeah, exactly. So Michelle used the data we do have from LFX to build a list of eligible voters, but there is a form as not everyone is captured, and there are there are several kind of contributions, and not all of them are tracked via APIs and things like that. So
Got it. That helps clarify. I wasn't sure if it was a board vote or or how it was
yeah,
done. So that helps.
yeah,
Thanks.
yeah. No, that's a great question. So we have the governing board seats, and those are voted by the governing board. We have end user seats, but these are project and are voted by maintainers, sorry, contributors to the project.
Got it. Thank you.
There is a link in there as well. All right. Okay. In terms of project updates, just wanted to bring up the LFX Insight, since all projects have been onboarded. This is the link, and it's possible to select all the projects. For each project, see a number of data points related with contributions, companies, best practices, and so forth. Well, first of all, I wanted to make sure folks on the TOC have access to this. If not, that's something that needs to be fixed. I put a link in the notes, so please do let me or Michelle know if you don't have access. And the other thing I wanted to ask is, right, whether we want to take any action out of this data. I mean, we see contribution levels for the different projects and from different companies and so forth. So we could use that data to say maybe we should reach out to projects, see if everything is fine, if we see activity or lows, for instance, if there is any way we can help them. In terms of best practices score, this is based on a number of rules which can be, well, which are defined, but there is some documentation about them, and sometimes best practices are not implemented at all. I guess in some cases maybe it's just a matter of a regular expression not matching the way things are done in that specific project. And again, I think it would be nice to have best practices scores higher up on the various projects, but it's a question of, well, I guess making the project aware about this first, and if there is anything that we can do as a TOC to help drive this. Yeah, so one thing that comes to mind, maybe there is Oktoberfest coming, so maybe these are good candidates for contributors to chime in and help getting this scores up.
And
Anyways,
those scores
yeah.
you showed was for all projects? What are
No.
those? Just for, oh, I see. Okay, got it.
So there is for individuals, so like for Ortelius, it's like this. I was checking out Tecton, for instance. And if you go into to see the breakdown, you can see for different repositories, individual scores. So one of the core repositories for pipeline for Tecton is the pipeline repo, and you can see we have much better score there. But for instance, some of the things that I'm missing are like links to community working groups and so forth, and Tecton has a community repo where all that kind of information is stored. So I guess it would be interesting to find out if it is possible to define exceptions, or how this works. And I think there is some work to be done to go through these and see which are actual issues and which are just maybe configuration issues, things that could be fixed by either tuning the tool or tuning things slightly on the project side.
Yeah, I've seen that before too with Ortelius, where I can't remember. It was like it didn't think we have a license. You know, there's some weird things, like you said, figuring out what the tool's looking for and where. So if we need to move something around, we can do that. I have to dive into what some of those are and try to figure out what we need to do to fix them.
Yeah. Yeah, indeed. I think so many cases it's just a matter of fixing things, tuning things, and I did find, but I don't see it. Oh, okay, here maybe. No. Here. Okay, yeah. So if you click on individual boxes here, let's say for this project documentation, it's clickable. And if you click on there, it shows like a breakdown. And for some of them, there is documentation. So you can click on the documentation. Oh, here in the bottom, there is also reference documentation. So you can open the reference documentation, which goes into this LFX documentation page. Oh, which is not found. Great. The one that I tried before did work. But yeah, no, this is not.
Do you know where we would put issues? Does that go into, you just log an issue in Jira as normal, I would imagine? Or is there like a LFX tools Jira?
The issues, I mean,
Like if we
depends.
find, like you said, you found that broken page
Oh,
or link, where do we put an issue to get that fixed?
that's a very good question. I think there is LFX as a support here. I should go to a Jira.
Okay.
So if you log in with your LFX Linux Foundation account, so let me try because, yeah, okay, so this is just a form, but I guess it's it will probably end up into creating an issue on Jira side. So we could do something like, yeah, create a screenshot and share it. Yeah. So I guess there are two things. One is to actually make sure, I guess, that the data is correct. The other thing is to make projects aware about this. And I don't think as a TOC it would scale for us to go through all of those. So I guess it would be great if we could like make the projects aware that this exists, and yeah, see if they can dig a little bit into it and see what can be done to improve.
Yeah, I think what I'm going to do is on the Ortelius side, I'm going to open an issue and see if somebody will pick that up to review the data for like Hacktoberfest or something like that. Because I'm sure there'll be like a couple little things we need to tweak on our repos side, and that will help those folks get a commit and a PR out there.
Yeah, that sounds like a good idea. I guess the other question I have is, I'm not sure whether project maintainers will have access to this. So what I'll do, at least on Tecton side, I'll ask the other governing board members or maintainers to check if they have access. Okay.
Well, one problem for us with Jenkins X when it came to data is that simply we have several organizations, and this they only support one organization per project, so we only get a fraction of our stuff in there.
Oh, that's good feedback.
But I have told them already on onboarding to Michelle. So yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if anything happened with that, but I mean that's
Yeah.
basically a sub. Could be had on the data is correct header. Could be a sub point to that or something. Doesn't matter. But it was. That's why I mentioned it. It's
Yeah, that's a very good point, and I'm sure Jenkins is not the only project who's in that situation. I mean, Tecton started a second organization for some catalog repos some time ago, and yeah, then that kind of the activity there is also not captured for the same reason then. And I'm sure there would be more projects like that. So need to make sure, need to check with Michelle if she created a ticket or feature request for this. But yeah, thanks for reporting it. Okay. Well, if there's nothing else on LFX, a couple of updates from projects on Tecton side. we started working on reducing infra spend, and yesterday, I think, yesterday we had the first nightly build of one of the components, pipeline, which is now container images deployed to the GitHub container repository instead of GCR one, the Google one. And over time, we hope that will reduce the cost as about 50% of the spend comes from egress bandwidth. And so if we start making new builds and new releases on the GitHub container repository, we hope that over time the traffic will shift there and will reduce the spend. On CDF side, basically all contributors from Ericsson's side left the project with different degrees, either completely or partially. But and I mean, Ericsson they say they're still interested in CD vans and in that space for sure. But at least the contributors that were involved in the project now are either completely moved to something different or partly at least. So we hope to get new contributors in future from Ericsson or from other companies as well, of course. Which is, well, sad news, but
I feel like we should reach out to Harness and GitLab and CloudBees. They're the ones that I feel like if CD events is going to have any legs, it's going to have to come from the commercial tooling around pipelines.
Yeah, we had
I
conversation with, yeah.
I know
Go ahead.
Harness I know DDC had spoken to Harness and they were interested. So I feel like if we want to get this going again, I feel like those are the folks we need to reach out to.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we can try Harness again. I mean, I had some conversation with Harness as well. But yeah, last time I spoke with them at KubeCon, I think, yeah, they told me that they basically didn't have engineering resources to spare. But we can ask again. I had a conversation with I think it's the CTO of Semaphore.io in Vienna last week. So he was at the CD Mini Summit, and he said that Semaphore.io is more interested in interoperability than other commercial tools, as they rely on connecting to different tools as a general strategy. So that's someone I would also reach out to see if we can get more contributors. And I think over time the project has had contributors from end users, different companies. The problem is that they don't seem to often stick around. So we have contributors from a company for some time, and then they do something and then move on.
I know it's
to
the
something.
same with Ortelius too. We'll get them, and for a while they'll get some done, and then they have something else that they have to do.
So it's yeah, it's a continuous effort, I guess.
Well, there's really only two people on the governing board, right? It's Sasha and Didisi. Is that still the case?
Yeah.
Who is on our? Yeah, maybe we need to try to get invited to the next call that Didisi and Sasha have together and see if there's any legs at all, or we should if we should pursue it heavily. I know Apple had said that they would, and I know Ben's been working pretty hard on stuff. So it has some moment, it has some movement. It just doesn't have enough big name backing, and that's what we need.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, Ben has definitely been working a lot on CD events. the thing is, he's still not allowed to contribute code, so he's able to contribute to the designs, but not to the code. And there's some Apple internal process that needs to
Yeah. And
happen.
how far did we get over the summer in getting a design done? I know that Steve, I know you were working on it.
There's a pull request out there that needs to be reviewed with the design doc in it. And that was specifically around the message broker, the requirements for the message broker. But we have not gotten into like a passive or passive versus active listeners. Or event generators, I should say, instead of listeners. So that was going to be the next pass is to, so a passive one would be to listen to like the Jenkins jobs and figure out when a job runs what was in that job and then kick off the events based on that. So you don't have to install any plugins into Jenkins at that level. The active one would be you enable events from a Jenkins plugin to do that, to produce the events at that level. So the passive route would give you more access to more projects quicker without having to make any changes. So that was one of the things that I was thinking of.
All right, because so some work has been done, it sounds like, but there's a pull request to go and review some work. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, there's a pull request to review the design documentation just to make sure that we have everything from the message broker side all done so that can be then implemented somewhere.
Yeah, thanks for that. It's on my to-do list to finish the review, Steve. But yeah, so I mean, we didn't meet in August, I believe. So our next meeting will be 1st of October. So I guess we should try and get that PR finished next time we meet for sure. Should make sure that it's merged, and then we can go on with the next step. Yeah.
Good oak.
All right. And welcome, Vonnie.
Hello guys, sorry I'm joining late. It's early morning here trying to prepare kit. So that
No,
and I realized that Alan hasn't been, like ever since, I don't know, maybe some of you guys know, but Alan was impacted by some reorg in July. So after that, he resigned from the TOC. And I learned from Andrea that there hasn't been any active TOC meetings during the summer. So, but I figured I'll try to join since there's no representative from Screwdriver as of right now, because the election is still ongoing. So I thought like I'll just drop in to listen up on what you guys are having.
Yeah, thanks for joining again. Yeah, I guess we actually went through most of the agenda, but yeah, we talked about the elections. You're already aware about that, and some updates from projects and LFX Insight. Just briefly, maybe Evana, you can also check this link if you have access to LFX Insight, as there is data for the various projects, including Screwdriver.
Okay.
So maybe that's something good for you to have a look at and make sure that we're trying to make sure that this data makes sense as well. Like for the best practices score, sometimes the tool misses things that maybe are implemented by the project, but maybe they're not found. So it's good to to find out maybe why it's not finding a certain, I don't know, license or documentation and things like that.
Okay.
Yeah, just for your information, if you want to have a look at that. Or at least let us know if you do have access to the tool.
Yeah, I'll check it out later after the meeting.
Thanks. The last thing I added to the agenda for today, but maybe that's also something we can revisit after we have the elections done, as to make sure that the current meeting time works for everyone. Because I noticed that since after the summer, we have new members on the TOC, but they have not been joining the meetings. And we have not seen Ben, Carlos, Garima, or Damien. I think Damien joined once. But yeah, I think we have not seen the new members joining on a regular basis after the summer. And yeah, so just wanted to ask at least who's everyone who's here, if the current meeting time worked for them. And maybe, I don't know, maybe we should wait for the elections and to send an email or a message to everyone to make sure that this time works.
I would say we wait till we get the new members and then go from there.
Okay.
Yeah, agree.
No use trying to do it twice.
Yeah, agree.
All right. Anything else anyone would like to bring out or discuss today or ask? If not, we can. Yeah.
I'm good.
Okay. Thanks, Steve. Then thanks everyone for joining, and see you in a couple of weeks, if not earlier.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I'll read out the meeting notes today. Thank you, Andrea.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
see you. Bye.
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 Bye.